One of the highlights of this year's Melbourne Documentary Film Festival is a film called The Doctor's Wife. And it's my great pleasure to be speaking to the co-director of the film, Tamara Azizian. Tamara, welcome to Movie Metropolis.
Thank you very much. It's lovely to be here.
Good to talk to you. And this is such an interesting story about Alan and Hazel in particular as the doctor's wife, but Alan, who is a cardiac surgeon working in the Gaza territory. Um, how did this documentary come about?
So it came about, it all started in 2006, actually. It's when Paula happened to meet Ellen Kerr through her work that she was doing for Maori Television. So Maori Television is an indigenous broadcaster in New Zealand, and they were doing a special feature on, outstanding people in New Zealand. And so the producer of that program suggested to Paula to get in touch with Dr. Ellen Kerr, who happened to operate on the producer, Aidan Atamipo, who's also a mutual friend of ours. When she was actually pregnant with a baby, he was operating on her, he was doing a heart surgery. And so she just said, he's an outstanding, person. So why don't you go and, feature him in this program? So Paula went and met Ellen and of course was just amazed by his work, his achievements. And yeah, through that meeting, she found out more about his work in Gaza and in Makassid Hospital in East Jerusalem. And so, of course, as filmmakers, we got interested in what makes a retired, pediatric cardiac surgeon travel all the way to the Middle East to pretty much every year. And then we decided to follow him. And I got involved because I met Paula when I was in film school. She came and spoke to us about her projects. And then in 2007, she said, why don't we do this and follow this doctor on his medical missions. And that's how I got involved as well in the initial stage.
Okay, interesting to hear that backstory. We should mention that the co-director is Paula Whetu Jones, um, okay,
Yes.
who you worked with. So, uh, tell me about the decisions both of you made about what you were going to film and
Mm.
having Hazel, his wife, as the narrator,
Mhm.
talking through the whole thing.
Yeah, so initially, of course, it was Alan that we got interested in because, we've met him. But then very quickly when you get in touch with Ellen, you meet Hazel. She usually is the one answering the phones, and she's very much more outspoken, extroverted, a person. And so initially we wanted to follow him and his work, but Ellen doesn't. He used to travel to Jerusalem together with Hazel. She's like his big supporter in everything he's doing. And so, and then we found out what Hazel does when she goes there. She doesn't just sit in a hotel
Mm.
and or looks at the sights and walks around. She gets involved, and so she worked with a lot of refugee in the refugee camps with children, teaching drama, and so we're fascinated by what she does. And also, she wrote books. She wrote diary. She kept a diary about her travels, and then from that we pulled a lot of what the narration is coming from her observations and her diary. So, and we thought she would be an interesting voice to, carry the story, to be included in this film. And also because a lot of her work is kind of a little bit unrecognized, but it's what she's done. It was a lot of,
Mm.
she raised the kids while Ellen was working, pretty much 24/7 in New Zealand. And then when they went together to Palestine, she found her expression and her passion with working with children there. So we're saying he fixed their hearts, and she would tend to the soul, and the emotional, creative side of the communities that they were involved in. Yeah, and so initially we went as a group. We self-funded this project
Ah,
because we struggled to secure funding at the time when we started because it didn't, I don't know, a lot of funders kind of didn't see. it as a funding opportunity, but we just thought, well, we're going to do it anyway. So the first trip in 2007, we went with a full crew. We had a camera operator and producer, editor with us. So it's four of us went on the first trip. But after that, we continued. Paula and I continued coming, and we'll save money and we'll travel. And then eventually, I started as a production person, production assistant, coordinator, and then with time, I started co-directing and also filming because the cameras I did photography, and then that evolved into uh, videography and capturing um, moments as well.
Oh, excellent.
So.
I was going to ask you how you and Paula divided up the direction process,
Mm.
but you're starting to explain that. Yeah.
Mm. It was kind of, I think in the early stages, I was just, Paula was my mentor. She's the driving force, I should mention that, of this whole project. She's the one that started it, and then, um, and then I became sort of I was learning from her at the beginning. And I love Paula's approach because when we arrived, we didn't go into hospital with cameras straight away. We were building relationships. We were being there as observers. We were just like not shoving camera into people's faces pretty much because it is a difficult time for everyone. Um, and then then Paula used to film as well. When we started on tape.
Ah,
2007, we filmed with, Sony mini DV, not mini DV, Sony, I can't remember now, but using tapes.
sure.
But with time, we started using DSLR cameras because they're much smaller and easier to carry and less invasive because the whole approach is we're there to observe things and capture as candidly as we can. We're not disturbing the process because we filmed surgeries as well,
Mm,
which I never thought I would ever do in my life.
mm,
But Macassar Hospital people, we also again built friendships and relationships there, and they were just give us scrubs, and we could go into operating room and film Dr. Allen, um, kind of very discreetly. So,
mm,
and at one stage, it was just me and Paula with cameras, and we say that being two women with cameras gave us much more, I think, access to things. Also, partially people didn't take us as seriously, probably because we're just these two girls with cameras and
mm.
we just blended in and yeah, didn't
Okay.
stand out. Mm.
So interesting to hear that process. So, really well done on that. I'm intrigued. There are some great shots of Palestine, of Gaza, of uh, various individuals. I sort of
Mm.
call them case studies of their
Mhm.
being part of the operations and so on. Did you at any stage have any difficulties in terms of getting around filming of the
Mm.
Israelis, perhaps trying to stop things from happening or crossing the border or anything like that?
Well, we had challenges, of course, but we actually never were allowed to film in Gaza. So the footage in Gaza we organized with a local crew.
Ah,
Through actually Suhail, who features in the film. He's the go-to man on the ground. So he actually used to be, I think, in media as well. So he has contacts in Gaza. And so the local crew filmed for us
ah,
because we tried twice, we couldn't get in. And then somebody else got the footage out for us, a
mm,
Western journalist. Like we learned that we found a way around things. We never were threatened directly. We did have a little bit of a not scary situation, but we were filming outside Erez, waiting for the kids to come out.
yep,
And that's where soldiers kind of were confronted us, going, "What are you doing? Why? What are you?" And we started saying, "Oh, we're filming for this New Zealand surgeon, Alan Kerr. Do you know him? He's famous in New Zealand." And trying to talk our way out. And they just said, "Turn the cameras off." And we're like, "Okay, we'll turn the cameras off." But we were able to film the kids arriving um, through the outside of Erez checkpoint. But we just learned quickly how to navigate the system in a way. We never filmed. Now, the footage that you're seeing of checkpoints, and that wasn't us.
Ah,
We that footage was very generously donated by a filmmaker, a Japanese filmmaker, Mr. Doi. He was filming also an 18-year-old project during the similar time. And when he learned of what we were doing and some footage like of the deaf school in Gaza we were missing of Hazel, and there is some footage that was done by Sunday's TV program. It's like a current affairs program that followed Ellen and Hazel and filmed them in Gaza. Hazel working with the deaf school. We have to pay because it's owned by Get Images. So we
ah,
paid a portion of that, like 8 seconds, but the rest became being too much. So so you'll see some footage of the deaf school in Gaza. That's like contributed by this filmmaker. So this project is very collaborative. Like there's a
mm,
lot of people that helped us. It's not just two people. Like we're saying, we need much more room for the credits just to thank, everyone. But that's what happens, people help each other, and we
yeah.
were lucky to have that support.
Absolutely understand, and especially with a difficult geographical area like that, I fully understand how you would need support and
Mm-hmm.
other footage. So well done on that. So tell me, this is a pretty tight 71-minute documentary with
Mm-hmm.
everything that you shot and was supplied to you, etc., plus the
Mm-hmm.
music. How did
Mm-hmm.
you make decisions about the editing process?
Oh, that's a very good question. Because our initial story changed because the initial story was Ellen teaching Vivian Beta, that young doctor, and she was supposed to come to New Zealand to continue with her studies, but she didn't pass the English exam. It's very strict
Ah,
in New Zealand. You have to pass this English. She tried like 5 times. She couldn't. Now she works in Glasgow, and Ellen always laughs about that. That her English is good for Glasgow. But I think we had so many ideas after that storyline fell through. It's sort of like, well, what is it? How do we make those decisions? We almost considered doing a documentary, calling it the documentary we almost never made, like focusing on us, but then we thought, no, that's not quite right. So there's a lot of footage for sure. So we looked at just focusing on the storylines of the doctor, his wife, the children,
yeah.
and Vivian. Yeah, and just trying to just simplify it so it's just focuses on, because we met so many other people that we could make 5 different documentaries.
Mm,
But I guess the decision was just to make it as their story as possibly as we can about their dedication and what it means to the people and all the teams that are involved, because it's the medical missions. There's a lot of Kiwi nurses that travel with Dr. Allen. There's the local staff that think he's a national hero for a lot of Palestinians. And
mm,
so yeah, it had a lot of drafts and a lot of paper edits. So, and what helped was the boost of funding that we received. And that's when we could have, because also our problem with it being, those plus and minuses of it being self-funded. Plus is that it became completely, we were free
mm,
to when we could travel and things we could focus on.
yeah.
The challenges, of course, is the keeping an editor, because the only people that really got paid in this film is the editors
Ah,
and sound post, and so once we could secure the funding, we could secure a consistent editing, consistent,
mm,
because we've changed about 5, 6 editors in the process of making this, and we started on Avid, and it had to be transported from one edit suite to another, and then the last push was, yeah, we had a couple of really dedicated. We've got special deals everywhere as well, so People really felt it was their passion project. So yeah, I hope that
Wow.
answers.
It does. What a process. My goodness, it's how
A lot
incredible.
of footage, like
Yes.
18, you could imagine a lot of footage
Yeah.
had to be gone through and like we have a database,
Yeah.
of dates and people and characters and what tapes relate to what, and digitizing
Mm.
the tapes and transcribing and translating. Yeah,
Yeah,
we help with that translating and for subtitles and
of course.
yeah.
Sounds like you'd have a very good Blu-ray where you put all the footage that you shot and contributed
Well,
into it, and so that people can
mm,
see the whole lot.
yeah, something like that. Very
Okay.
supportive. Paula's partner is very supportive. Glenn, he's amazing, and he did a lot of also creating database of of
Mm.
logs and everything like that. So
Wow. Okay.
yeah. Mm,
I'm impressed. Very,
mm.
what a process. Tell me, how did Alan and Hazel respond to the final version of the film?
Yeah, that's a very good question because that was a huge worry for us as well. Because we didn't show them a lot. We showed them trailers that we had, and it was a huge relief when they watched it and they loved it. So
Great.
huge relief because they were very, cautious. Like it's personal story. They don't
Yeah.
because it's taken so long. It's by the way, Ellen's 90 and Hazel's
Yeah.
85.
I saw
They're
that in the
amazing.
film. Yeah.
Yeah, they go to every screen, most of the screenings we've had in New Zealand for Q&A. And I think they really enjoy that process because they get to meet people,
Mm,
um, people, answer questions. But the
yeah.
first screening, so we had in Rialto, it's one of those lovely cinemas in Auckland.
Ah, yeah.
Have you been to
I've been to New
Auckland?
Zealand a few times. Yes.
Rialto, and so we've had our first screening there for the audience, and it
Yes.
was before the final version. It was more again the funding fundraising version, and that's when Ellen and Hazel saw it for the first time on the big screen,
Ah.
and they were relieved, and we were relieved. So, and Hazel, I think, really also enjoyed because her work got shown, and she just loved, she's very, as I mentioned, outgoing, expressive person. And she loved, I think, seeing herself,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's good. Um,
documented all the work that she did. And it was really
yes.
important. Yeah.
Certainly is. No, his work, of course, as a surgeon and hers to document it all.
Mm.
It's terrific that
Mhm.
you
Yeah. We
reveal all
actually,
that.
yeah. Sorry, Peter, also you mentioned how we filmed. At one point we gave Hazel a camera with
Ah,
little mini DV, and because she went into Gaza with Dr. Ellen, a lot of that footage is hers as well. And yeah, so she captures things. She's a beautiful photographer as well. Like when we just met them, it was her photos that really captured like me and everyone because she photographed children and photographed the life and
hmm.
in Jerusalem. And then she filmed, yeah. And people were very curious to see this sort of woman with a camera walking around. And then she'd say, you could hear behind the camera, it should say, tell him I'm the doctor's wife. Tell him I'm filming because I'm the doctor's wife. So they kind of made us want to call it that, the doctor's wife as well.
Makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Excellent
Mm.
stuff. All right, Tamara. Are you working, you and Paula, or separately on other projects?
Yeah, we always have something. Paula's very, very busy. She's also making big feature films now in New
Mm.
Zealand. She made Fina, that
Yes.
that biographical movie on Fina Cooper. So
Yes.
she's in development of many, many projects. Um, we are thinking of a couple of things. Yeah, maybe not in the area, but we always joke that we should write a book about our trips
Yeah.
or something based on because we there's a lot of stories connected to how we're filming the film.
Of
And
course.
me personally, yeah, I have some also personal projects. I do documentary photography, but
Ah.
the things that I make also take a while. So I'm about finished a film about my auntie that I filmed when because I'm part Russian, part Armenian. So I
Ah,
visited my auntie in Russia back in 2018, and I filmed her in her house. And so I'm working on completing that film. And yeah, just a couple of other personal projects, but yeah.
excellent to
But
hear all that.
this is the big one that
This
we're
is
so
the big
happy
one.
to complete. Yeah, this
Yes.
is the one.
Well, look, congratulations on all that, and certainly on The Doctor's Wife, which is screening as part of the Melbourne Documentary Film Festival. And will you be in Melbourne for the screening?
Yes, yeah.
Aha.
I'll be there it's tomorrow at 5:30
Ah,
at Cinema Nova. Yeah, I'll be
okay.
there. I think there's a Q&A afterwards.
Yes, yes. I'm doing some of the Q&As, but I'm not doing that one.
Mm.
But anyway, we've spoken now, so
Mhm.
that's fine.
Yes.
And I'll send you the interview so you can share it with anyone you
All
like.
right.
So yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we've been speaking to Tamara Azizian, the co-director of The Doctor's Wife, screening at the Melbourne Documentary Film Festival. Tamara, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vida. Lovely to
Okay,
meet you.
you too.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
Bye.